Let's talk about the Celtics a little more.
Okay.
There's something like 79-20, including the playoffs. Some crazy. I think that's what it is. They've had the most wins by 20 plus points in a season by any team. They are an all-time. I mean, they by every metric, this is an all-time team. They haven't lost a game in about a month. Lost 2 games all postseason. They haven't lost a road game this postseason. And I know, like we said, people are talking about, maybe the strength of the opponent wasn't quite there. You still got to go out there and do it. And last night, just seeing, everyone's talking about who's better, Tatum or Brown. It's all people want to talk about. Those guys were finding each other out there. I don't know if you saw the way they were playing together.
They're not buying into any of that BS.
Yeah, it was too long. They've been playing together too long.
They didn't buy into it in the beginning of this series. They didn't buy into it in the beginning of this playoffs. That era of them even having that in the air is over. I think they both are above and beyond that. First off, from a compensation point, they both are making so much money. I think even from that standpoint, they feel comfortable within themselves. I think the validation of both of them being all-stars, all-NBA players, all these things, I don't think they're even worried about that. I don't think I know. We're watching it right now. Last night was a prime example of how to be a star and play with a star. They made plays for each other. They made plays for the other guys on the team. We've had, conversations. Who is the best duo in the NBA? And everybody before the series started said who? Kyrie and Luka. And what I say?
You said Tatum and Brown.
I said Tatum and Brown because due to their success, and we get tired of it. We live in an era where we totally forget about what someone's done in recent history. They've only dominated the Eastern Conference for the past couple of years, and I know they had that loss versus Miami. I get it; it's a strike versus them, but it was only a strike, and everybody's wowed by it because we expected them to dominate.
Right?
Do you see what I'm saying? The bar was so high for so long with these two. People got tired of them not winning a championship because of how good they played together.
Right.
They are by far the best duo. Second, in my eyes, honestly, if we're talking about success, second best duo in the league probably would be, in my eyes, Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, just due to their playing styles really fitting one another. So listen, the best duo in sports is holding it down again. Does it help they have a really good team around them? Of course. Hats off to Brad Stevens.
Derek White is I don't even like using the term role player because who is a role player, who's not. Derek,
Drew Holiday's not a role player. He's playing for Team USA in a month.
Yeah,
that ain't a role player. Role players don't play for Team USA.
But Derek White is one of the best role players I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
he does
really
everything
good,
for
man.
you.
He is really good. Yeah. They got a couple of those guys. The disappointing part in this is without Porzingis, I really thought they'd be able to get him. And I'll tell you what broke the back is when they went up 19 to 7. They were up at one point 19-5, 19-7.
Yeah.
And then when they closed that first quarter and it was a ball game, that was fuck, man. We just gave him the best quarter. Luka was out there doing some stuff. We're up 12, 13, 14 early. It looked like one of those games that could kind of get away. And Boston just comes streamlining right back.
So like Michael Myers, where you're just running and running, but you turn around, the guy's just walking, but still right there.
It's just right there. And they're just this team's good, man. We can't get, and then at that point, when it's a battle, just to get on the board versus a team that already has two, it starts to get a little weird. The energy starts to be well, I don't know if we can't beat this team. Yeah. We're giving them our best game right now. This is a must win for us. And we're down 4. And the third quarter is this isn't going our way. The funny thing is, all playoffs long, we talked about the struggles all season long. We talked about the struggles of Brown, Tatum, and the clutch, and the crunch. We didn't even get to see it.
Okay, so I think when they went up 20 and then Dallas came back in the fourth quarter, I was like, man, I've seen this before with the Celtics earlier this year against the Cavs, the Dean Wade game.
Yep.
They've done this before in the clutch where we're okay, they're going ISO too much. What happened? They'll blow a lead.
Yeah, I saw a couple tough fadeaways, step back threes from Tatum. You're uh-oh,
and then
we
saw the maturity, though. They pulled it through. And I think that's almost the ultimate compliment for this team. A game they would have lost for sure. And your dad, by the way, was on Bill Simmons' pod last night. Unbelievable job. He's so good at it. And they were talking about how last year they would have lost that game. The Celtics would have lost that game last year. But this year's team, they were able to kind of weather the storm and pull it out. So they're a really good team. I'm going to say this the 5th time I've said it on the spot already. We just got started. They're just an unbelievable team.
Well, they're the best team in basketball.
Yeah.
And they're just showcasing that right now. It has nothing against, Dallas. Dallas has done a fantastic job. They might even be a product of overachieving. And I don't say that as a slight to them. I say that only as a compliment to be like, yo, you guys have really gone above and
Yeah.
beyond. You wouldn't beat Minnesota, a team that like people thought would go to the finals after that win versus Denver. You know,
Right.
after they beat Denver in what, 6? 7.
7.
They beat them in 7 in Denver.
Yeah.
People are like, this is the team.
I mean, Minnesota was acting like they were in the finals.
They were.
They
Yeah.
acted like they were
Well,
doing
when you
that.
beat Denver, you're like, we're going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You could see it in the air. Bro, when they beat Denver, I guarantee you that next day, they were like, yo, we're going to the fucking finals.
Yeah.
And then they ran a Luke and Kyrie. You're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
What's this? That team was hot too. They just
Yeah.
came off of beating OKC, the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
You had both teams streamlining on success. It's definitely a learning lesson for Minnesota in terms of just being like, next time we're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
But that's what happens. You got to get somewhere for the first time first.
Yeah.
Right? How many times have we seen Boston go to the postseason and have these
Right.
these moments? So Boston's here now. They're up 3-0. The series is done. I don't know if it'll be a sweep. You know, Dallas might get a gentleman's sweep. Pride game. They might win game 4 and force it to go back to Boston. But the series is over. They're not going to beat Boston 4 times
If
straight.
they go back to Boston for game 5, I think you're going to be there.
Yes, if they win,
Yeah.
but if they don't, then obviously I won't be. It's
But just winning obviously winning a title in Boston, and everything this particular team has gone through, 6 out of 8
Do
conference
you
finals.
think Dallas fights for Game 4, or we're going to see something with them? I always like to see when a team's got their back against the wall.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, we know you're not going to win the series, but there is something to a team being down 3-0, knowing that you're going to lose and still competing and fighting. I have a high respect for that. You know what I mean? It's like,
Minnesota just went down 3-0 against Dallas, and then they went out and won game 4.
yeah, like for them to fight in Game 4 and be like, yo, like, we're just going to keep playing hard.
Yeah.
We might not win the series, but we're going to keep trying to do our thing and do the right things, make the right moves, be competitive, still be bought in. It just shows a lot about the character of their key players and just overall where their team's at. So I want to see the same thing from Dallas, especially since you're in the NBA Finals. Nobody wants to see a sweep in the NBA Finals. It's bad for TV. It's bad for the NBA. It's bad for the ratings. It's bad for the viewers. So I would like to see some type of competition. Last night we got a little bit of it. That fourth quarter, we finally saw them surge back, and like we're like, okay, Dallas might make a run here.
Right.
Obviously, they weren't able to close. Game 4, I'd like to see them win 1 game at least, so we can get a game back in Boston.
Right. And then Dallas could end their season at least getting a nice home win in front of the fans, cap off
Something.
a really successful season
Something.
for them. Yeah.
Something.
So 2 guys that have received a lot of criticism leading up to last night's game, Jason Tatum and Kyrie Irving. And they came out that first half. Jason Tatum shot 15 shots. Kyrie shot 14 shots. So they were both, they heard the criticism. They went in there.
No, they went for it.
Yeah, they went for it.
But, Kyrie did it with just savvy, skilled shot making. Tatum did it with a mix of aggression of, his threes, getting to the basket. But Tatum still was making plays for everybody.
Yeah.
And so was Jaylen Brown. He had 8 and 8. 8 rebounds, 8 assists. Again, they are the best duo in the NBA. I said it before the playoffs started. I said it all season long when we talked about who's the best duo in basketball. Multiple times, we both said Tatum and Brown have to be the best duo considering their success. And if anybody could argue somebody else, it would have to be only Jamal Murray and Nikola, considering the success that they had the previous season and even this earlier on this season. They were great, man. They were great last night again, 30 and 30 each. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Big time game. And they play on both sides of the ball, which is key from your key players, man. Your best player can't just be on one side of the ball. They got to do a little bit of everything.